All right. Well, thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here today to talk about CanAlaska Uranium. And I'm not going to stand behind the podium. I like to actually move around a little bit more dynamic. This is a very dynamic story. This is going to change very quickly in the next number of months, if not in the next 12 months. So you need to be paying attention, I believe, to the CanAlaska story. And I'm going to share with you today why that is. We are working on our new Pike Zone discovery in 2025. It is truly the world's newest ultra-high-grade uranium discovery out there on a global scale. This is something very special, akin to what you might find at the McArthur River, nearby McArthur River, giant mine, uranium mine owned by Cameco and Orano. So let's work through this story. We had an incredible 2024. We continued to intercept and expand the Pike Zone discovery, which we announced for the first time February 28th of last year. First ultra-high grades last year. We've continued to drill those through 2024, expanded the target, completely open in all directions, really working toward what we hope is our first resource number at some point in the next number of months to certainly first half of next year. Extensions, pearls on a string. We'll hear that story a lot today. Pearls on a string. That's how these deposits form. Very small, very high-grade pearls, which make these deposits special. Now, our West McArthur JV is a joint venture with Cameco. We own 86% of that project. Cameco owns residual interest. And our portfolio is over 500,000 hectares large, mostly in the eastern Athabasca Basin. We are about the fourth largest landholder in the space. An incredible, incredible portfolio around all that critical infrastructure. So we believe we have an advantage as a company amongst our peers. We have the right strategy with the right team on the right assets. So strategy tier one in the eastern Athabasca Basin, we're going out there and making that type of discovery. Our team, built off Cameco and Orano trained geoscientists, these individuals have been part of major discoveries in the Athabasca space, let alone involved on the global scale, going out there and making new discoveries, hopefully in the CanAlaska portfolio as well. And speaking of that portfolio, again, right portfolio, right space in the east with a great partnership in Cameco, or one of our other projects has a partnership with Denison, and we are a well-structured vehicle. So here's the vehicle. We have about 185 million shares outstanding for a company that's been in this space for over 20 years. Very well structured. Market cap hovering around 140 to 150 million these days. Really on the back of some incredible results in the last 12 months. And you can see our chart here over the last 2 years on the right. We are financed. We have over $23 million in the bank today, 3 drills turning, working on this incredible discovery asset. We have seen our shareholder base switch from retail over to institutional. This is from September. Our institutional holdings, we believe, are around 40% now. Some big players are coming into the space, as we just heard about the next-gen story, thinking that, we could be the next-gen. They're getting involved now. They've been working hard to get a position in the last 12 months and really following this story very closely. Myself, a geoscientist, been in the space 31 years, 25 years with Cameco, the last 6 years with CanAlaska, leading the charge here on discovery. My VP of Exploration, Nathan Bridge, out of Cameco, very talented young geoscientist, over 10 years with Cameco, part of major discoveries for that company in the Athabasca space, a great individual, and together we've been rebuilding the team in Saskatoon. At the board level, led by Karen Lloyd, former director of Cameco marketing. She used to move all the pounds around the world for Cameco into those long-term contracts. She understands utilities, she understands the market, very well versed in the industry. Shane Shercliffe, another former Cameco employee, Cameco corporate development. I worked with Shane for a number of years on a global scale, looking for the next tier one production for Cameco. A great friend of mine, a great asset to have at the board level. Jeff Gay, we spoke about Indigenous agreements and Indigenous support. Jeff Kay runs the Athabasca group of companies owned by the Indigenous communities in which we operate. So he brings a great connection to the local chiefs and councils, making our efforts potentially that much better with the Indigenous groups. Now, we heard a little bit today about production challenges, yes, because Adam Prom, that's going to get solved, that's fine, but these are the blips that cause market turmoil. Microsoft, going and saddling up with Constellation. Why? They need the clean baseload energy, that clean energy that can support their data ambitions. That's all in the face of some challenges with production, which we talked about a few moments ago. Recent news, big tech, decades-long nuclear build-out underway. You've got Meta, Amazon, Google, all teaming up together to produce up to 1 million megawatts. These tech companies, these big tech companies, are not waiting for the governments to solve the problem. They need clean energy. They need it today. They're working to build this out. $4 trillion to $5 trillion market cap among these companies. They've got the wherewithal to go out and do it, and they're actually doing it. Small modular reactors. It's not just in places like China, maybe in Europe. It's happening in Canada. Canada, in Ontario. 300 megawatts of small modular reactor technology going in at the Darlington facility, all producing clean energy by the end of this decade. 6 years from decision to first power using SMRs. Incredible. Wait till this happens on a global scale. Wait till this starts to happen in the US market, the biggest nuclear fleet on the planet, about to get larger, we believe. We need more uranium. That's where CanAlaska starts to come in. So the graph on the left, this is the first time in 70 years of uranium production where primary and secondary supply cannot meet demand or is not meeting demand. That's never occurred before. Rock solid fundamentals. Rock solid. We need more production. On the right, there's a conservative forecast out to 2040. Okay, that's short 1.5 billion pounds of uranium. That red wedge, we don't know how large it is. That's SMRs, that's restarts, that's extensions. That's all not factored into this green demand line. There's a lot more uranium that needs to go to be found, produced, and put into the contracts that are coming down the pipe. Now, spot price. I don't care about spot price, other than it's way too low. Okay, that blue box is the step change zone for tier 2 assets on a global scale. It's somewhere north of $100 a pound in order to build the next real profitable production anywhere on the planet. This is what we care about, long-term contracting. It's moved from $60 to $80 a pound in the last 12 to 15 months. Okay, that's a significant change. This is a signpost that hasn't existed post-Fukushima. It is back, it is stabilized, but it will continue to go higher. Why? Because you need to be north of $100 a pound to even consider building new operations that make money. Trump economics, we're all aware of that. More coming in a few hours' time. We'll see where it goes. It's impacting the markets. And what is it really doing? It's hurting companies like CanAlaska, among our peers, even the big players like Cameco. Uncertainty in the market is making it hard to actually finance these projects. We have $23 million in the bank. We're well financed. We do not have to go to market. We can ride this out. You can see the impact of what happened right after we announced the best hole we've ever drilled at Pike Zone. Tariffs came out the same day. Bad luck. Drove us down for a month. There's the buying opportunity in CanAlaska's story. Look at us against our peers. Definitely outperforming in the last 2 years against our peers. Everyone's down, we're up. Why? On the back of this discovery. Against the big players like Cameco, among many others, NextGen included, we are performing very well in this turbulent market. Why? We're financed, we got the right asset on the go, we got 3 drills turning. Incredible news flow coming from CanAlaska. So let's look at this. We're an active explorer and project generator, again in the eastern Athabasca Basin. We generate projects and do deals. Why? To minimize our shareholder dilution, keep ourselves cashed up, really stay focused on the projects where we see value like West McArthur. So we are focused in the east, again, all that critical infrastructure. This is our drilling plan for the year. West McArthur is dominant. Okay, we're looking at putting 40 to 50 new impacts into the target this year alone. Incredible amount of work happening on our West McArthur asset. Cree East is a drilling program we're currently working on, sole funded by Nexus Uranium. Again, news flow coming into our portfolio. Our portfolio expands all the target models from NextGen's Arrow on the left in this image right through to deeper sandstone like McArthur River. We can use that to our advantage if we understand how to look for these assets. Okay? They come with large alteration systems looking for a very small target, which can be literally 100 meters in size. So let's look at this. Where is the Pike Zone? It's 20 kilometers west of the McArthur River mine, shown here on the right. That is the world's largest, richest uranium mine on the planet. 20 kilometers away, our partners Cameco on this project, they own the McArthur River mine. There's the haul road down to the Key Lake Mill on the right. We drive here year-round to work. We're not seasonal. We can work here year-round. It's part of the C10 corridor. That's the fault zones and things we chase geologically. It's already host to Cameco and Orano's 70 million pound, 8% average grade Fox Lake discovery. Not big enough. Tier 2. This is not Tier 1. We're looking for Tier 1. That's how close we are to the critical infrastructure. So what do we do in 2024? Well, here it is. These are some of the results. This is McArthur River-like, period. You won't see this anywhere else in the world. These grades, these thicknesses, this is a McArthur River-looking clone. Any of the zones of McArthur River, this is what they look like. We're working at an incredible scale, which totally makes sense for making this into a Tier 1 asset at these grades and thicknesses. What are we focused on in 2025? Well, filling the gaps. Filling the gap between what is 2 ultra-high-grade uranium pods right now, shown in those clusters of red stars. We got 3 drills turning, 1 in the middle, 1 on each end. Expanding this, making it bigger. Working toward our first resource at some point, hopefully, in the first half of 2026. This is the first hole we announced from the winter, February 5th. The best hole we announced to date on this project, showing, again, step outs to the right or to the east. and it's going to continue through the winter. So we talk a lot about McArthur River, pearls on a string. Here's McArthur River, 7 pearls along a string, along a fault zone. 750 million pounds of uranium at McArthur River. One of those zones, Zone 2, is host to half that reserve, 350 million pounds of uranium in one of those zones. What's the size of that? 80 meters, by 20 to 25 meters, by up to 60 to 70 meters into the basement. It fits in the space of a North American football field. 350 million pounds of uranium at grades not too dissimilar from what we're drilling at Pike Zone, and widths not too dissimilar from what we're drilling at Pike Zone. So let's put this into perspective against our drilling. Here it is. That's a simple red box, just to give you a scale. 80-meter long box, 20 to 25 meters wide, 65 meters into the basement against one of our drill sections. There we are. We're filling that red box. Again, that's representative of Zone 2 in size, 350 million pounds of uranium. We've got a second one on the go, a second pearl. Perhaps they're connected. We don't know. That's part of the work from the winter. News flow to come in the next few weeks on what we've been up to for the winter. You can see that it is looking special. We can make this a Tier 1 asset at these grades and thicknesses without moving off of this page. And all of our drilling suggests we got a third, and we're currently drilling this one right now. So we may have another pearl starting just to the left or to the west. Again, incredible, incredible asset forming up here. Our first hole, here it is for reference, filling that red box further. Just to put it in the context for you, we're working on filling that in the next 2 to 3 months as we work through the rest of our program into September. How do we do this? We're working at depths of McArthur River, 700 meters, down to the unconformity. It's not for the faint of heart, especially in the junior space, because we're Cameco and Orano trained. They routinely explore at 1,000 meters depth. 1,000 meters. This is how they do it. The instrument on the right there, that is mud motor technology out of the oil patch. We basically turn 800-meter holes into 300-meter holes. This collar that you're looking at hasn't moved in almost 14 months. That drill is still sitting on the same drill pad. Here it is. Those are the 3 drills at play. The one in the foreground here hasn't moved in over a year. The one in the background hasn't moved in about 8 months. The one just to the right just came in, and it probably won't move for 6 or 8 months. This is how we're delineating it. What it means is that we're able to save our shareholders last year $3 million. Importantly, we took $3 million of our spend, put it back into the ground in terms of more discovery opportunity for our shareholders and delineation of this asset. It's all done in-house by our geoscientists. We don't bring in outside contractors, keeps the cost down. We are among the cheapest explorers on a per meter basis in the Athabasca Basin out of any of our peers, let alone the big companies. An incredible, incredible team at work here on this Pike Zone discovery. Now, we talked a little bit about production challenges. This is from Cameco's website. Okay, this is you can go find this online. This is their reserve base. Let's look at McArthur River, which is right next door to Pike Zone. In the next 15 years, Cameco and Orano need to know the next source of feed for the Key Lake mill. 15 years. Sounds like a long time. We heard today, if we found it today, it's already too late. Okay, that is it. That is all they have for reserve at McArthur River. Thank you. The time is now for this discovery. There's a strategic opportunity for CanAlaskan shareholders. There's an asset here that if we're right, and this is a Tier 1 asset, if we can prove that up, it will garner an incredible value right next door to this critical infrastructure with a critical need in a time where the world has a critical need for new production to come online. We do lots of deals, project generation. Last couple of years, we've done $44 million worth of deals. Again, that's news flow for our shareholders. Importantly, we don't have to lose focus and dilute our shareholders to continue to work our West McArthur asset, our Pike Zone discovery. It's just a part of our business. So let's look at the forward value proposition. This is a next-gen story. I lived through them going from 50 million market cap to 1 billion in 12 months. Why? They showed the market they had 100 million pounds of uranium in the ground, at least optically, if not in reality, with their first resource. This is the re-rate that occurs. And you can go back through 20 years of history in the Eastern Athabasca Basin. It's valued at $8 US a pound in the ground on any M&A transaction or discovery transaction that occurs. You can go check that. $8 US a pound in the ground. If we can put 100 million pounds of resource in our maiden resource at our Pike Zone, we should be $1 billion valuation on that metric. And that's tested and true for the last 20 years. We are looking to move up this value chain very quickly with continued drilling. Again, 40 to 50 drill holes into this asset, working toward that first resource. That should get us the re-rate. That is the start of the rapid valuation trajectory for our shareholders and CanAlaska. So we truly tick all the boxes, the most important of which is this is a brand new discovery, ultra-high-grade uranium. There's 70% uranium in my hand from one of these drill holes. Incredible stuff, heavier than lead, an incredible story that's unfolding. I would welcome you to follow us through this discovery journey. Thank you.